19 forgotten vegetables that grow like weeds. The lazy gardener's goldmine. In a world obsessed with perfect supermarket produce and trendy superfoods, many of the most reliable vegetables have quietly slipped into obscurity. These are the plants our grandparents once relied on. Tough, generous growers that ask for little and give back in abundance. They don't need fancy fertilizers, constant watering, or endless attention. In fact, many of them grow so easily they're often mistaken for weeds. But hidden behind their humble appearance is a gardener's secret treasure, nutrient-packed, resilient vegetables that thrive where others fail. For the lazy gardener, or simply the busy one, these forgotten crops are pure gold. Plant them once and they'll keep returning year after year, filling your garden with fresh, healthy harvests with almost no effort. In today's video, we're uncovering 19 amazing vegetables that time forgot. Plants so resilient, so eager to grow, they're basically the superheroes of the gardening world. Let's get started. Hey there, friend. Now, before we dive into today's adventure, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button right now, subscribe if you haven't already, and stick around until the very end because what I'm about to share with you could literally change the way you think about your garden forever. Welcome to Easy Grow Garden, where today we're uncovering 19 amazing vegetables that time forgot. Plants so resilient, so eager to grow, they're basically the superheroes of the gardening world. Let's get started. The mystery of the forgotten vegetables. Okay, so first things first, you might be wondering, why would anyone forget about vegetables that grow themselves? Great question. Here's the thing. About 100 years ago, our great-great-grandparents didn't have fancy grocery stores on every corner. They couldn't just drive down the street and buy whatever they wanted. They had to grow their own food, and they didn't have time to baby delicate plants. They needed vegetables that could survive tough weather, poor soil, and a little bit of neglect. So they grew these amazing plants that were basically indestructible. Plants that could handle drought, freezing cold, pests, diseases, you name it. These vegetables were champions. But then something changed. Big companies started selling seeds for vegetables that looked perfect, tasted the same everywhere, and could be shipped long distances. Think about those perfectly round, bright red tomatoes you see at the store. They're bred to look good and travel well, not necessarily to be easy to grow. Slowly, people forgot about the tough old vegetables. They stopped saving seeds. They stopped planting them. And year by year, these incredible plants faded from our gardens and our memories. But here's the exciting part. They never really disappeared. They're still out there, waiting for us to rediscover them. And once you plant them, they'll practically grow themselves. Now, before we get to our list, I need to tell you something that might sound a little crazy, but it's absolutely true. Some of these vegetables, these wonderful, nutritious, easy-to-grow plants, are actually being restricted or even banned in certain places. I know, it sounds wild. Why would anyone ban a vegetable? Well, it comes down to two main reasons. First, some of these plants are so incredibly good at growing that they spread, and I mean really spread. They're so happy to be alive that they'll pop up in places you didn't plant them. They'll send out runners, drop seeds, or spread roots. In some areas, especially places where the plants aren't native, they can take over wild spaces and crowd out local plants. It's like inviting a friend to stay over who decides to redecorate your whole house. The second reason is a bit more complicated. As people started relying more on big agriculture and grocery stores, some governments and organizations created lists of approved vegetables. These are the ones you're supposed to grow and sell. The forgotten vegetables, they didn't make the cut. Not because they're bad, but because they're different, old-fashioned, and they don't fit into the modern farming system. In some places in Europe, for example, there are laws about what seeds you can sell. Old heritage varieties sometimes can't be sold commercially because they're not on the official list. It's like being told you can't share your grandmother's amazing cookie recipe because it's not in the official cookbook. But here's the beautiful thing. In most places, you absolutely can grow these plants in your own garden for your own use. You're not breaking any laws by growing food for your family. You're just rediscovering something wonderful that we almost lost. So why should you grow them now? Because knowledge is power, my friend. Because these plants are tougher and easier than anything you'll find at a garden center. And because every time you plant one of these forgotten vegetables, you're preserving a piece of history and making sure it doesn't disappear forever. The 19 forgotten vegetables. All right, let's get to the good stuff. Here are 19 vegetables that grow like weeds and will make your garden feel like magic. Number 1. Good King Henry. Imagine a plant that's like spinach, but tougher. Good King Henry is a leafy green that was super popular in Europe hundreds of years ago. You plant it once, and it comes back year after year. You can eat the leaves like spinach, the flower buds like broccoli, and even the shoots like asparagus. It grows in shade, in poor soil, and it doesn't care if you forget to water it. It's called good for a reason. Number 2. Sea kale. This beautiful plant grows wild on ocean beaches, which tells you how tough it is. Imagine dealing with salty wind and sandy soil. That's sea kale's idea of a good time. The young shoots taste amazing, kind of like a nutty asparagus. You cover the plant in spring to blanch the shoots, which makes them tender and delicious. Plant it once and enjoy it for 20 years. Yes, 20 years. Number 3. Skirret. Okay, this one's really cool. Skirret is like a carrot, but it grows in clusters of sweet, crunchy roots. People in medieval times loved this vegetable. It tastes slightly sweet, almost like a parsnip and a carrot had a baby. It grows in wet soil where carrots would rot. Just divide the roots every few years and you'll have food forever. Number 4. Turkish rocket. Not the kind of rocket that goes to space. This is a spicy salad green. Turkish rocket tastes peppery and delicious, and it doesn't care about heat, cold, or anything else you throw at it. It grows so easily that it'll self-seed and come back every year. Your great-grandparents probably had this growing without even trying. Number 5. Scorzonera. This is basically a black-skinned root vegetable that tastes like a fancy oyster-flavored parsnip. Sounds weird, tastes amazing. It's also called black salsify. The coolest part? You can leave it in the ground for 2 or 3 years and it just gets better. It's patient, it's tough, and it's delicious. Number 6. Jerusalem artichoke. Don't let the name fool you. It's not from Jerusalem and it's not an artichoke. It's actually a sunflower that makes knobby, delicious roots that taste nutty and sweet. Here's the thing about Jerusalem artichokes. Plant one tiny piece, and by the end of the season, you'll have 100. They spread like crazy. In some places, they're so enthusiastic about growing that people consider them invasive. But in your garden, free food forever. Number 7. Walking onions. Yes, they really walk. Well, sort of. These onions grow little baby onions on top of the plant instead of flowers. The weight makes the stalk bend over and the babies touch the ground and plant themselves. It literally looks like the onion is walking across your garden. You'll never need to plant onions again. Number 8. Perpetual spinach. This is spinach's cool cousin that never gives up. Most spinach dies in summer heat or winter cold. Perpetual spinach doesn't care. It keeps growing all year long in most climates. Pick the leaves, cook them, enjoy them, and more leaves just keep coming. It's like having a vegetable that works harder than you do. Number 9. Alexanders. Imagine celery, parsley, and black pepper had a baby. That's Alexanders. Ancient Romans loved this plant. You can eat the leaves, the stems, the roots, the flower buds, basically the whole thing. It grows in terrible soil, salty conditions, and shade, and it tastes incredible in soups and stews. Number 10. Fat hen. This one actually grows as a weed in most gardens, and people pull it out without knowing they're throwing away food. Fat hen is related to quinoa in spinach. The leaves are delicious cooked like spinach, and the seeds can be used like grain. Our ancestors ate this all the time. It grows so easily that you literally can't stop it. Free food hiding in sight plain. Number 11. Orach. Think of this as spinach's colorful cousin. Orach comes in red, gold, and green varieties, and it's absolutely beautiful. It loves hot weather when regular spinach would die. The leaves are tender and tasty, and the plant just keeps producing. Plus, it looks so pretty that your neighbors will think it's an ornamental plant. Number 12. Bunching onions. These are also called Welsh onions, even though they're not from Wales. They grow in clumps that get bigger every year. You pull a few green onions when you need them, and the clump just keeps growing. Divide it every few years, and you'll have onions in every corner of your garden. No replanting needed. Number 13. Chinese artichoke. These make tiny, spiral-shaped tubers that look like little white caterpillars. I know that doesn't sound appetizing, but trust me, they're delicious. Crunchy, slightly sweet, and nutty. Plant them once and they'll come back every single year. The only problem? They're so productive you'll be giving them to neighbors. Number 14. Ramps, or wild leeks. Okay, these are a bit more picky than the others, but hear me out. Ramps are wild onions that grow in forests. They love shade and don't need much care. The funny thing is, in fancy restaurants, chefs go crazy for ramps and charge tons of money for them. You can grow them under your trees for free. They spread slowly but surely, creating a carpet of wild onions. Number 15. Dalbanton's kale. This is kale that never dies and never flowers, which means it never stops producing leaves. Most kale is an annual. You plant it, harvest it, and it dies. Dalbanton's kale is perennial. It just keeps going year after year. You take cuttings to make new plants, and boom, free kale forest. It's also more tender and less bitter than regular kale. Number 16. 9-star perennial broccoli. Imagine broccoli that comes back every spring like a flower. That's 9-star broccoli. It makes multiple small heads instead of one big one, and it comes back for up to 5 years. It's rare, it's special, and it's easier than annual broccoli because you don't have to start from seed every year. 18. Lovage. This herb tastes like superpowered celery. One plant grows huge, like taller than you. You can use the leaves in soups, the stems like celery, and the seeds as a spice. One plant feeds a family for decades. Yes, decades. It dies back in winter and explodes back to life in spring. 0 effort required. This little salad green is so tough it grows in winter when everything else is dead. It's tender, it's mild, it's delicious, and it seeds itself. You plant it once, and it'll pop up every fall and winter for the rest of your life. It's like having a salad garden that plants itself. Number 19. Tree onions. Similar to walking onions, but these make clusters of onions on tall stalks. You can eat the bulbs at the base, the green tops, and the little onions up high. They come back every year and they never stop. One planting equals a lifetime of onions. They're so enthusiastic about life that they'll take over if you let them. So why am I so passionate about these forgotten vegetables? Why should you care? Let me tell you a little story. My grandmother grew up during hard times. They didn't have much money and food wasn't always easy to come by, but she had a garden full of plants like these, plants that didn't need fancy fertilizer, plants that didn't die if you forgot to water them, plants that came back year after year without being replanted. She used to say that a good garden works with you, not against you. These forgotten vegetables are exactly that. They're plants that want to grow. They're not fussy, they're not delicate, they're survivors, just like our ancestors who relied on them. In today's world, where everything feels uncertain sometimes, there's something really powerful about growing your own food, and there's something even more powerful about growing food that practically takes care of itself. These plants are also incredibly important for our future. See, when we only grow a few types of vegetables, the same tomatoes, the same lettuce, the same everything, we put all our eggs in one basket. If a disease comes along that attacks those plants, we're in trouble. But these forgotten vegetables, they're different. They have different strengths, different defenses, different genetics. They're like a backup plan that our ancestors wisely kept around. Every time you plant one of these vegetables, you're doing something important. You're preserving genetic diversity. You're keeping old knowledge alive. You're making sure that these plants don't disappear forever. And honestly, you're also making your life easier and your food more interesting. Getting started.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds amazing, but where do I even find these vegetables? The garden center definitely doesn't have them. You're right, most garden centers stock the same 20 vegetables everyone knows. But here's the good news. There's a whole world of seed savers and heritage seed companies who specialize in exactly these kinds of forgotten treasures. Look for companies that focus on heirloom seeds, heritage varieties, or rare vegetables. Join online gardening groups where people share and trade seeds. You'd be amazed how many gardeners are growing these plants and are happy to share. Start with just one or two. Maybe try the perpetual spinach and walking onions. Get a feel for how easy they are. Watch them grow with almost no help from you. Feel that little spark of excitement when you realize you're growing something most people have never even heard of. Then next year, add a few more. Before you know it, you'll have a garden full of these incredible self-sufficient plants. And while your neighbors are complaining about their struggling vegetables, you'll be harvesting delicious food without breaking a sweat. The lazy gardener's gold mine? It's not about being lazy in a bad way. It's about being smart. It's about working with nature instead of fighting against it. It's about choosing plants that want to succeed. My friends, we've just taken a journey through time together. We've rediscovered vegetables that fed our ancestors, that grew in their gardens with joy and abundance, that asked for almost nothing and gave back everything. These 19 forgotten vegetables aren't just plants, they're teachers. They remind us that the best solutions are often the old ones, the tried and true, the ones that stood the test of time. They remind us that food doesn't have to be difficult, that gardening doesn't have to be a constant struggle, and that with the right plants, you can have abundance with ease. But most importantly, they remind us that we're connected to something bigger than ourselves. Every time you plant one of these seeds, you're joining a chain of gardeners that stretches back hundreds, sometimes thousands of years. You're becoming part of their story, and they're becoming part of yours. So here's my challenge for you. This season, plant at least one forgotten vegetable. Just one. Watch it grow. Taste it. Save its seeds or divisions. Share it with a friend. Keep the chain going.
Because these vegetables didn't survive this long by accident. They survived because they're incredible, and they're waiting for you to give them another chance. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 19 vegetables are you most excited to try? Have you grown any of them before? Do you know of other forgotten vegetables that deserve to be remembered? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and I love learning from this amazing community. If you enjoyed this journey through gardening history, smash that like button, subscribe to Easy Grow Garden for more adventures in growing food the easy way, and hit that notification bell so you never miss when we discover something new together. Remember, the best garden is the one that grows itself. Happy planting, my friends, and I'll see you in the next video.